Today, Washington State and Snohomish Health District officials announced the first U.S. case of a 2019 novel coronavirus.
The patient is currently in isolation.
Scientists always warn us about some new weird death virus, and when we're like, what's the plan? They're like, wash your hands.
The second confirmed case of coronavirus in the U.S. right here in the Windy City.
A government plane is planning to evacuate Americans from Wuhan.
The only way China could be locking down cities any harder would be if the coronavirus were protesting for Hong Kong's independence.
The White House announcing that it has created a coronavirus task force.
President Trump is set to ban foreign nationals who pose a transmission risk from entering the country.
Looks like by April, in theory, when it gets a little warmer, it miraculously goes away. I hope that's true.
The number of infections on the Diamond Princess cruise ship has doubled.
The 15 within a couple of days is going to be down to close to zero.
Health officials in Washington state confirm a patient has died from the infection.
Here's what we know about New York City patient.
It wasn't a question of if, but when.
The U.S. does not have enough coronavirus test kits.
It's a virus, like the flu.
COVID-19 can be characterized as a pandemic.
We will be suspending all travel from Europe.
Customers have been snapping up everything in sight.
The family of the victim, 26-year-old Breonna Taylor, shot in an officer-involved shooting on Friday morning, is speaking out.
My administration is recommending that all Americans avoid gathering in groups of more than 10 people.
Direct all individuals to shelter at their place of residence.
Long lines and hours of delays as travelers returning from Europe had to undergo screenings for the coronavirus.
Stocks going down. Gold is going down, credit's going down, everybody's in complete liquidation mode.
Do you think using the term Chinese virus, that puts Asian Americans at risk, that people might target that?
No, not at all. I think they probably would agree with it.
People right here in the Valley say they are getting backlash just for being Asian Americans.
A drug called chloroquine, hydroxychloroquine, and it's shown very, very encouraging early results.
An Arizona man has died after he took chloroquine phosphate because he believed that it would protect him from the coronavirus.
The numbers from Italy tonight only worsening.
Spain's suffering over 460 deaths in the past 24 hours.
Brazil's own president, Jair Bolsonaro, describes the threat as a, quote, little flu.
D-Nice is DJing Club Quarantine on Instagram Live.
This is SGN asking you to remember that no matter how tough life can get, there's always good in the world.
The single biggest economic relief package in American history. The CDC is advising cloth face covering. It's voluntary. You don't have to do it. I don't think I'm going to be doing it.
Millions more Americans have filed unemployment claims.
The chronic burden of medical ills is likely to make people of color, especially, less resilient to the ravages of COVID-19.
A phased and deliberate approach to reopening.
Shake Shack returning a $10 million government loan meant to help small businesses.
Georgia's governor reopening his entire state.
On Monday, Arkansas, Colorado, Montana, and Mississippi will also begin lifting restrictions.
Tensions mounting in Michigan, hours after protesters stormed the state capitol, demanding an end to the stay-at-home order.
In Huntington Beach, hundreds of protesters swarming the coast.
No one has been arrested or charged. Arbery's family says all he was doing was jogging.
The United Kingdom has now recorded Europe's highest number of deaths.
Several thousand workers have gotten sick.
On the Mississippi coast today, casinos reopening.
Folks coast to coast are risking COVID exposure, seeking sun and fun this Memorial Day weekend.
A bystander's cell phone video captured the incident. A Minneapolis officer pinning George Floyd face down, pressing a knee into his neck.
Officers then showed up in riot gear.
More than 100,000 American lives lost to the coronavirus.
Another huge leap in coronavirus deaths in Brazil.
While everyone is facing the battle against coronavirus, Black people in America are still facing the battle against racism and coronavirus.
We will be today terminating our relationship with the World Health Organization.
It appears to drive directly into a barrier where a large number of protesters were gathered.
Police in riot gear fired gas canisters and used grenades containing rubber pellets to scatter largely peaceful demonstrators for a photo op.
The biggest gathering London has seen in weeks.
The officer pulled down a protester's mask and pepper sprayed him.
K-pop fans are overwhelming social media hijack a hashtag used by white supremacists.
Today would have been Breonna Taylor's 27th birthday.
Say her name!
day. In Arizona, COVID cases spiking by 34% over the past week.
My worst nightmare.
A disaster in Georgia.
You can see people lined up. Some waited for hours to cast ballots.
Protesters chanting Black Trans Lives Matter outside the Brooklyn Museum.
The U.S. Food and Drug Administration withdrew emergency approval for hospitals to use hydroxychloroquine to treat COVID-19.
I said to my people, slow the testing down, please.
Bars in Texas once again shut down, now a second time.
As we have seen a spike in certain areas.
They had just been reopened only 3 weeks.
The U.S. is the green line, which plateaued and is now rising sharply. That is what failure looks like, and that's where we are.